I mentioned Josh Allen. I want to touch on, for me, the most interesting storyline this weekend, and I think it's great for the NFL. We all love the Chiefs. Everybody loves the Chiefs, but a game of the century of the week sort of game that has nothing to do with the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is the Miami Dolphins going up to take on the Buffalo Bills. I didn't realize, honestly, you get so swept up in the week by week grind of the season. I had no idea this was coming up on the schedule until Sunday night. And I'm immediately like, let's fast forward to next week. Like, I got to see this game. I can't freaking wait.
Yeah, Bills are 8-2 the last 10 games against the Dolphins. The Dolphins beat them in the heat last year down in Miami, and then the Bills beat them twice more, playoffs and, of course, the end of the regular season on a Saturday night game. Josh Allen historically owns the Dolphins. He's had great success against them. But here comes a Dolphins team that's number one in the league in every offensive category. They scored 70 points last week, and they're underdogs. I find this game fascinating, and what an opportunity for the Dolphins to make a statement here that this is not some fluke and this is different than last year. I'm shocked that even though the Bills have historically been better and have won those games, I don't know. The Dolphins came in there with Skylar Thompson last year in the playoffs and lost by 3. Miami is simmering. I love watching this offense, and I love watching the way they operate. And it's not like they can only win shootouts. They beat New England and they only scored 24 points, but they still got that offensive stuff going. McDaniel's been a really cool story. I think if you were to do Coach of the Year right now, I would think he's your Coach of the Year. And it's because for me, he's always been there. Like he was with Washington, the same crew as LaFleur and McVay and Shanahan. And then he was with the Browns with Shanahan. Then he was at the Falcons with Shanahan. Then he waited his turn in San Francisco for 5, 6, 7 years with Shanahan until he finally got an interview with the Dolphins, a job that was supposed to go to Sean Payton, it sounded like, and then Payton and Brady, that whole thing fell apart. And it was almost like Mike McDaniel, and only 2 years in, he's being considered, the same breath as Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and the rest of the offensive mastermind. So let's see. Sean McDermott, head coach who calls defense. Mike McDaniel, offensive coach who also is the head coach. Like, this is an awesome showdown. 2 great quarterbacks. And I love it's the rare 1:00 game that has great significance.
Which I was going to bring that up is I love even the best teams can get hidden by the 1:00, 10 a.m. window.
Yeah.
Because the Bills, we're pumping up my Dallas Cowboys for going 70-10 in the first 2 weeks, 70 points and 10 points allowed. The Bills, I believe, have outscored their last 2 opponents 75-13 since they lost that week 1 game. And at least by Bills standards, like, we're just not talking about how absolutely dominant they've looked. And the defense, especially, like, without Von Miller, the pass rush looks phenomenal. These young linebackers, I can't wait to see that. Miami made Denver's linebackers look so foolish. And then you look at this game, you see a guy like Terrell Bernard playing out of his mind.
Awesome.
Cannot wait to see, if this is a byproduct of the Bills beating up on some teams that weren't ready for it, or if the Bills defense is ready to take another step.
Has there been a more overlooked week 3 win than what the Bills did to Washington? It was 38-0 against a team that was undefeated and getting a lot of hype and Bieniemy and all this stuff. And then at the end of the game with nothing to play for, Riverboat Ron
bad little field goal.
It's a field goal, which is always to me like a whimper. Like, all right, I guess you don't want to get shut out, but okay, so they lost 38-3, but that was a destruction by the Bills, and it was so quiet because it was buried in the 1:00 window by what the Dolphins were doing, and then Taylor Swift showed up on our screens, and it was like, all right,
yeah, good point.
Yeah.